one crazy thing there, Ziggy, when you just ran through the entire AFC there were like 3 teams that basically left out of playoff contention. It was the Texans, the Colts, and then our last team, the Raiders. So maybe you even think have a chance at the playoffs. We'll find out now. Obviously, the big story for them is Derek Carr is gone, the golden boy. Everyone that I know who's a Raiders fan loves Derek Carr, still loves him. They say he's a top 10 quarterback. Yeah, there you go, Ziggy. They say he's a top 10 quarterback in the league. Like, it's that kind of loyalty from Raiders fans to Derek Carr. Now, Jimmy Garoppolo comes in. Obviously, there were some of the concerns about whether or not he'd actually be playing. Seems like he's healthy. Should be good to go week 1. Now there's the whole Josh Jacobs drama. I think he's going to wind up playing at a sensational year last year. Like,
he will play for them this year. There's no choice.
Oh, no, he will. He's not going to take the pay cuts. You know, he had 1,650 yards last year.
Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs.
Yes, really.
Derek Carr had a great, No, so Jacobs, I mean, had a great year.
No, Jacobs, he was amazing. Yeah.
And Ziggy, you're the one who mentioned before the show started, this Raiders team has a lot of weapons on the offensive side of the ball. Like, the O-line is passable. And then the weapons, the skill position guys, you have Davante Adams, Jacoby Myers comes over from the Patriots, and you also have Hunter Renfrow and they drafted Michael Mayer, who catches everything. Another Notre Dame guy. Look at that.
Austin Hooper's fine.
Yeah, and this offense is not bad if Jimmy Garoppolo is able to stay healthy. He's a good quarterback.
Jimmy G went to a Super Bowl when he had a good offensive unit. And granted, that Niners defense was ferocious.
And Kyle Shanahan.
The Raiders lack that. Yeah.
I mean, Kyle Shanahan versus Josh McDaniels is...
Derek Carr did not want to be there at all. He didn't care to play for the Raiders. He made that clear time and time again. And that, to me, was the main reason for why that went downhill, was him not wanting to play for that team.
It was just over.
Jimmy G, he's a decent enough quarterback where I think that the Raiders offense, he could be okay. I don't like them, though, right now on the defensive side of the ball, competing against Mahomes and Herbert 4 times a year.
Yeah, I mean, that's the huge concern.
That's the concern.
I don't know about that, right? So on the one hand, I mean, I get this team won 6 games last year. But on the other hand, lots of things went wrong, right? The average team in the NFL last year, if you leave halftime with a 1 touchdown or more lead, won 80% of their games. The Raiders went 1-5. Right, the Raiders lost to the Chiefs in overtime. Right, that wasn't in overtime. The Raiders lost the Chiefs in regular time by 1 point. Mm-hmm. They lost to San Francisco in overtime by 3 points. Like, they could play with the big dogs. And I get they weren't going for moral victories last year, but this team improved after being able to challenge to a single point the Kansas City Chiefs.
Do you think, we'll get to the defense in just a second, do you think Carr to Garoppolo is an upgrade at quarterback?
If Garoppolo can stay healthy, I think it might be a slight upgrade, or it could be about the same.
I mean, like, regardless, you'll probably see an upgrade in play, because whether or not this year you'd rather have Carr or Garoppolo, Derek Carr did not play well last season.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, I'd rather have somebody who's going to want to be there than not. Mm-hmm. So by default, yes, it's an upgrade.
Hey, but like, look at the other swap outs they made. They swapped Mac Hollins for Jacoby Myers. Yep. They swapped Foster Moreau for Austin Hooper. They swap Rocky Sin for David Long and Duke Shelley.
And Marcus Peters. They just got him.
They just got Marcus Peters. Like, there are plenty of good players on this Raiders team.
Yeah, we're really hyping this team up too much.
Yeah, I mean, to a degree. Well, let's talk defense for a second here.
I don't think they'll be that good.
If you look at the D-line, we do like the D-line. Max Crosby, they get Tyree Wilson. He falls to them. Some people were talking about Wilson possibly being the number 1 pick in the draft, or at least number 2 at points in this offseason. If he's able to come in, recover a little bit more from that foot injury, Max Crosby with a rushing partner like that. I mean, Chandler Jones is also there. So you could get after the quarterback like Ziggy said before the show. If you can get after the quarterback, that can nullify a lot of other problems the defense has. But the secondary, which was horrible and probably still will be pretty bad, it's completely been revamped. Like you said, Shelley, David Long, and Marcus Peters are all new. I think Duke Shelley's okay. He had a good grade on PFF and everything last year. That's what people talked about all the time. There was a reason when he came in for the Vikings that he was targeted every single play. Like, there's a reason for that. He did a good job, but I'm not putting all my eggs in the Duke Shelley basket just yet.
Anyway, Trayvon Mayrig should take a step forward.
Yeah. I mean, well, hopefully. It's entering his 3rd season, and Marcus Epps is also new there. So a new secondary, and then but the linebackers. The linebacker unit, I thought this was kind of funny. Denzel Perryman was by far the best guy they had last year. He's gone. He's a Texan now. No current linebacker on that team has played 600 snaps last season. I mean, it is a young group, one of the worst in football last year that really just got worse. So that could be a big weak spot on the defense. We'll see. Regardless of what happens in the secondary, it's going to be tough for them.
Yeah, it's nice to have a guy like Crosby for sure. You make quarterbacks' lives difficult. I just don't see the Raiders' defense as a whole holding up.
There's only so much you could do against Mahomes, Herbert, and then we'll see if Peyton and Wilson become a problem.
I don't think it's really going to hold up.
I don't like hearing a team that has to play the Chiefs, the Chargers, and the Broncos for 6 of their games might have difficulties defending the pass.
Yeah.
Like, look, even if this team might not be a playoff team, we'll see what happens. Things always play out differently than you expect. This is absolutely a team that can steal a game from anyone. So they could be playing spoiler this year for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
definitely can watch out for it.
They were up 17-0 on the road in Kansas City.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And they lost that game by 1 point, right?
And they lost by a point, 30-29.
Let me ask you guys this to wrap up the Raiders. And actually, one more thing is just Josh McDaniels. It seems like just can't coach. From everything I've heard from even people who have talked to people who are in the know.
If he had Mahomes, he'd be good. It's
just like, I don't know. This guy has had a lot of trouble. So we'll see this year. It doesn't look like fortune's in his favor at the moment, but Josh McDaniels has struggled a lot as a head coach. Like, there are just some guys who are better as coordinators. I mean, obviously he had Belichick with him in New England, but so we'll see. It's just the head coaching hasn't really been great for Josh McDaniels, and I don't have a lot of faith in him from what I've heard. So that's another question mark in Vegas. The final question I'll have for you guys: when we talk about teams that can contend for that 7th spot, does Las Vegas even come to mind?
No, because I would look at the Steelers.
Everyone else, yeah.
I'd look at the Ravens. I'd look at the 3 teams in the North.
Yeah, everyone. Ziggy said.
Yeah. I'd look at there's the Jets, the Bills, the Dolphins.
Yeah. Ziggy, how about you?
The Chargers. No.
I think they can for the following reason. If you were to ask me, like, what do you want your team to be strong at? If you tell me they have strong offensive skill position players, strong pass rush, and a good quarterback, that's absolutely a team that can make the playoffs, no matter what division they're in. Will the Raiders play up to that potential? I don't know. But they could have a top 5. If they are top 5 in the league in sacks and can have a strong offense, like a top 10 offense, they were 14th last year. I could easily see them being top 10 this year. That's a team that can make the playoffs.
Okay. I mean, ever the optimist over there in Virginia.
I think the Raiders have to have a really good season to be 9-8.
Yeah, I look at the team and I say probably the worst defense in the division and probably the worst quarterback, maybe third.
I'm going to give them 7-10.
So I'm out too, but Ziggy, I like the optimism. That's why people stick around.
There's decent quarterback, good weapons, and
I don't know, is this the first time Jimmy G's had like probably a bottom 5 wide receiver core?
I don't know. Does he? He might. I mean, I don't think they're at bottom 5. They had Davante Adams.
Are they bottom 5? They have Davante Adams.
Oh, I totally forgot that they had Davante Adams on that team.
I don't think Adams and
Renfro just
Renfro
walked off the show.
Yeah. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot he was on
Adams and
the
Renfro's
team.
a good core. He's got good weapons.
And Myers, Jacoby Myers too, and Michael Mayer.
Added to the list.
Josh Jacobs.
Added
yeah.
to the list.
I mean, it's a lot of good skill position players.
Ziggy leaves the show.
We don't know when he'll come back.
Yeah,
All right, let's. He's had enough. He said, "I'm done." There's an empty. If you're listening on Spotify, there is an empty chair right now on the screen. We don't know.
I can't believe I forgot about Davante Adams. Maybe because he was so inept last year.
That's right. It's late at night.
What do you mean? He was great last season.
He was great,
awesome.
but
He was awesome.
But he was just so inept because the Raiders were so
team
inept.
was irrelevant.
Yeah. Like he was irrelevant because the Raiders were irrelevant.
Everyone's talking about Jefferson 24/7.
Yeah.
For a good reason. I mean, the guy's amazing.
Yeah, for a good reason.
Yeah, don't put me on that soapbox.
Ziggy, we got to do our draft. Come back.